I'm Sarah Star, and this is your space weather forecast for the day. Still holding on to that 25% chance of an X-class flare today, yet again from both regions. We also had some M-class flares yesterday and some radio blackout, and now we are integrating all of the light codes that are coming in. Have you noticed a change? Let me know in the comments if you did. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, where I go ahead and tell you about the planetary alignments, the solar weather, the Schumann resonance, and how it affects you day to day. Today is a much different day in energy, so you're gonna gain a lot of clarity today, and it's all about balance. Balance between the old and the new, the past and the future, the good and the bad. And as the new moon approaches us, this is the perfect time where we can focus on what we need to remove from our lives, whether it be people, whether it be situations, whether it be within yourself. But we have some intense heart activations right now. And of course, we can also see that accumulating on the Schumann of what we are integrating because we had such a large light blast. And those are those root purgings, that heart activation, and those third eye and crown opening. So we're able to see who or what is not really aligning with us, what needs removed, what needs a major adjustment. And like I said, clarity is going to be pretty big today. So you're gonna gain some energy, you're gonna gain some focus, you're gonna gain some passion back. And this is going to peak later in the day. This is gonna help us take action on all of those new visions. So yet again, drop a comment if you're feeling any of these releases, if you are gaining more of that clarity today and what you need to remove from your life to move forward. So yesterday we had two larger M-class flares. One was an M2.2, the other was an M4.27, and it came from region 3575, and it really lit up. There were two CMEs that were associated with those M-class flares, and none of them have any Earth-directed components, but it did send us into a Type 2 and a Type 4 radio sweep. This is where we are currently, and yet again, the absorption is going to move throughout our world, affecting mostly, yet again, South America. It's always directly around South America. So yet again, if you are from South America and you watch my channel, what's going on with your communication? But the majority of our solar flares did come from region 3575. It is very highly magnetic, although it is heading off of the southwestern limb. Like I said, we did have two M-class flares that did produce those CMEs. No Earth-directed components yet again, but still 25% chance of having these X-class flares from both those regions, 3575 and 3576, which we will take a look at, but we're gonna get some C-class flares today, which we already have. M-class flares are prominent, but I'm gonna show you about this X-class flare, and it's not exactly from 3575, it's the other region. We have 12 sunspot regions on our sun today. Pretty much all stable except for those two. So we had those M-class flares coming from 3575 that is heading off the southwestern limb. We do have a small percent chance, actually a big percent chance of having some M-class flares and some X-class flares from that region. I will show you in a second, but 3576 has a lot of potential. This is going to be a main key player, and it is just coming onto the sun right now. We have quite a bit of days, even when it becomes Earth facing. So we're really going to keep an eye out on this because I think this is going to go off. I thought it was going to go off yesterday. I thought it was going to go off the day before. It might go off today, maybe tomorrow, but let's check this one out. So this is region 3576. It is off the southeastern limb. It is coming onto the sun, so we can see exactly how large it is. Now, since it did start turning, we can see that the size did go down, but we have been getting some C-class flares from this region. It is in beta, delta, and gamma range, and the number of sunspots went up exponentially. 28 new sunspot regions. Take a look at our X-class percentage, also the proton levels. Now that can send us into a solar radiation storm. C-class flares are very prominent today. M-class flares, we do have a chance. This right here. We need to watch this right here. Do you see how there's zero buffers? But we have this blue, this darker blue, okay? And we have this red that is surrounding it on both sides. we're gonna have something from this region. Mark my words, I don't know if it's gonna be a high M class flare, but these are coming together. They are not spreading apart. That's why we have a high percent chance of having these X class flares from both of those regions. But since 3575 is heading off of the southwestern limb, this is coming onto the sun, we're going to be monitoring this one. And this is region 3575 that is heading off of the limb of the sun. Notice that we do still have a 10% chance of having an X-class flare from there. We are getting some M-class flares and C-class flares, and notice that it is also in beta, delta, and gamma range, which means the magnetic complexity of it is very, very high, which means that it can mix together. And when that happens, we get explosions, we get larger solar flares. And notice the proton level on this. So we had those two M-class flares. We did have a higher proton level, and our solar radiation levels did increase. We could see a chance of having a solar radiation storm, a S1, which is minor, but it did go down in size because it's heading off the limb of the sun, but we still need to keep an eye out on this. Both those regions we need to keep an eye out on. And here's our solar proton levels. As you can see, this green line right here, we jumped into at least a 1 proton flux unit, so it did increase. It wasn't a direct hit, like I said, because it is heading off of the limb of the sun, but we did see a noticeable increase, and you may have felt that throughout the night. Now, with our solar winds, we did not reach active geomagnetic storm levels. We did have an increase in our solar wind speed. It was pretty much between 350 and 560, I believe, kilometers per second. So we did have a small enhancement. Density was pretty low the whole exact time because it was mostly velocity that was happening. But we are not expected to have any geomagnetic storms unless we have those two regions go off, and then we can expect to see some larger geomagnetic storms, depending on if it is a large M-class flare or if it's a large X-class flare, and then where that CME is directed. And here's our Schumann. So our amplitude was at a 17. We pretty much died down. I'll show you a graph, but our frequency did catch up. So it is high. So if you're feeling those heart palpitations, which also is that heart activation, or you're getting dizzy, you have these migraines, you have these blurry visions, you have this nausea, this upset stomach, root, heart, third eye, crown chakra activation. So if you are feeling any sort of symptom, ascension symptom quite like that, it has a lot to do with our Schumann resonance, because we did have quite a bit of a long duration spike. So we had a lot of light that was pouring in, and now we are integrating it, and our frequency did catch up to that, and that's why we're gonna feel it more today. But those who have cleared out their third eye, those who have cleared out their crown chakra, are going to be able to have more of that clarity today, especially with those planetary alignments. So yet again, if you're getting migraines, ear ringing, 100%, who is getting ear ringing? So we will keep an eye out on the X-class flare potential, because there is a high percent chance of that going off, especially in that region 3576. And yet again, please support my channel by subscribing to my TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube channel. I also have readings, or you can donate to help keep me motivated to make this content for you, and the link is in my bio. With all that being said, how are you feeling today? And as always, keep a smile on your face, stay positive, and just be you. Love ya.